Hey everybody, so I am going to help you navigate through the fiction text that we would like you to dabble in for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be looking at Scholastic StoryWorks, and all of these materials that we want you to use are right on our Willow Ridge digital learning website. So I'm going to give you this link up here so you won't have to navigate too much. But just watch how I navigate into getting into the Scholastic website, as well as the passwords to get into it. All right, so we're at our Learning at Home resources. I've clicked on 3 through 5 grade literacy, and I'm going to scroll all the way down, and you're going to notice that you have a couple of digital magazines to access, and this is what we're going to be using. So you've already seen Mrs. Joel talk about National Geographic with kids. And we've been using that quite a bit in the past couple of weeks. We're going to actually be clicking on Scholastic here. And when you click on Scholastic, you're going to see it says Scholastic Magazines, and you're going to see some directions here. This is super, super important to be looking at and watching, because this is how you're going to be able to log in. So it says determine which magazine you want to access. That's number 1. Click on the magazine cover and then type in the password, 1920 Scholastic. Now remember, if you do not type in the password correctly, you're not going to be able to get in. So before emailing Mrs. Iwanko or Mrs. Joel or myself, Miss D, the Scholastic magazines aren't working, you need to make sure that your password is correct. So do you see how there's a capital S here in Scholastic? That means it needs to be capitalized when you are typing in the password. If it says 1920, you have to be typing in 1920 exactly. Check your spelling. If you're missing the A in Scholastic, you're not going to get in. So please make sure that you are taking time to do that. Now, there's a couple of StoryWorks magazines here that you can look at. We're really going to be focusing on StoryWorks grades 3 and up. The action piece over here, we're not going to be looking at, because we did that in the past 2 weeks with our argumentative writing and reading. So we're really going to be looking at StoryWorks grade 3 and up. Now remember, password is 1920 Scholastic. You know what? I'm even going to jot that down so that I can spell it when it's time for me to log in. So if you want to pause the video and go ahead and pause, you can jot it down. I have it right here so that when I go in to click on it, I click on the magazine page, it's going to direct me right there, and that's where I need to put in my password. So see, it says, welcome. To get started on your classroom password, if you don't have one, ask your teacher. You have one, so you don't need to ask your teacher. So we're going to type it in, 1920 Scholastic. And we're going to sign in. Now, we're going to be focusing StoryWorks on all of our fiction articles that you get to choose in your choice. It is your choice here. That's what the fun part of the last 2 weeks is that you get to choose which topics or which stories that you want to use. I'm not going to tell you, Mrs. Joel's not going to tell you, Mrs. Iwanko's not going to tell you. You get to choose what you want. So it says browse the latest issues. So when you look up here, we are going to be focusing on fiction, okay? What's fun is you could use fiction. You might want to use play, like a play that you want to read, or you might even want to try some poetry, okay? You might want to dabble into that. That might be something that you might be interested in doing. So go ahead, we're going to do fiction. Remember, Mrs. Joel talked about using National Geographic for nonfiction. So you use those to do that reading. But if you find that, hey, you know what? I was really interested in that nonfiction article that I kind of was browsing through, feel free to use it. It's okay, as long as you're getting some experience reading fiction and nonfiction on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and click on fiction. And you're going to see all sorts of different titles coming up for us. So These are all fiction stories, and I want you to choose one that is going to be in your interest. Okay, there's a lot of, if you go down here, there's a lot of pages here that will have different types of books. Squeak twice for yes, sure. All fiction. All fiction. Cool. She found a treasure on a beach, but is it hers to keep? I don't know. Let's click on it and see what these types of stories look like. Remember, they're just magazine articles, so they're not going to be that long. Okay, it says you can use presentation view, which is kind of cool. You can kind of go through and read the story as a presentation. If you want, you can have it read aloud to you. Okay, so if you click here, it will read it aloud to you. You have a little visit with the author. And then, of course, you have some more down there. So when you click to read the story, click read the story, and that's going to help you to navigate into that story that you're interested in. Remember, this is your choice. You get to choose. So here it is. Look at some really cool things that you can do. You can draw, you can highlight, you can even add a note if you wanted. Spotlight, maybe it zooms into something. So feel free to click on the arrows to kind of push everything back, zooming in. And what I love is that they give you some guided questions here for you to focus on that will really, really be helpful for you as you're reading. So when you get to these points, read, stop, and be thinking of those questions. Have those conversations to yourself where you're like, I really didn't even really think of that. That's interesting. Okay. And then, of course, go right to the end of the story. And then you can always go back to get to where you need to be. Okay, so again, these are ways of just getting into different types of fictional stories. Let's take a look of what it looks like for the plays. Plays can be really fun to watch, but can be difficult to kind of read because you have many different characters, and so your mind has to know who's saying what. So let's click on the Sea Turtle Summer because that looks cool since we looked at, I know many of you are going to be wanting that. It looks like a lot of great different types of drama plays here. Revenge of the Gods. Let's click on that because I know many of you are interested in the gods and the goddesses. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like. Again, might be something that you're interested in, and it might not be. So over here, it shows you, the different types of characters that are here. It gives you the scene. So again, it's something different, something that might interest you, and that's up to you. All right. You can go ahead and click on poetry as well if that's something that you are curious about reading and navigating in. And again, we're really looking to be thinking of some fictional stories that will kind of come to life. So if you look at it, pretty cool. All right. So this website offers a lot of different magazine articles, and these are going to be articles that you're going to, like StoryWorks, these are going to be things that you can have at the hand of your iPad all summer. So be thinking of that because it's if you need something to read and you're running out of books at home, feel free to use the StoryWorks Scholastic through our Willow Ridge website. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on. And then what you're going to be doing once you pick your one fiction that you are going to be reading for the week, let's say you're reading There Were Giants. What you're going to do is you're going to go back into Schoology and you're going to respond to 3 of the questions of your choice. Okay, so just label the question that you feel that you want to answer, 3 questions for fiction, and make sure that you are answering them in a complete sentence, provided with 2 details to back up your information. Okay, so have fun, happy reading with StoryWorks and Scholastic Fiction. Remember, 1920 Scholastic with the capital S. All right. If you need help navigating, getting in there, I think you could figure it out. Just take your time in getting into Scholastic Works, StoryWorks. Go back, watch the video a couple of times if you need it. All right. Have fun reading and have fun choosing a magazine article that you are most interested in.